Hello, good morning, everyone. I'm Joe Mendoza, captain of the Sheriff's Information Bureau. Thank you for coming to our press conference this morning to discuss the recent protests here at South LA Station. The order of speakers will be the Sheriff of Los Angeles County, Alex Villanueva. He will be joined by community members Richard Gomez, Sean Sanford, Joe Collins, Elsa Aldiger, Robert Foster. The Sheriff of Los Angeles County, Alex Villanueva.
Good morning, everyone. I want to thank you for being here for today and for the opportunity to hear from community members themselves from here from Westmont. That the LA County Sheriff's Department, the South Los Angeles Station, serves the community here of Westmont and Athens and the unincorporated areas around here in the west side or southern portion of Los Angeles County. And it's important to hear from our community residents because all too often the shouting, the yelling, the antics from disruptive groups that are definitely not from this community are overshadowing the voices of our own community. And I have here a tally of those who were arrested from the 2nd, 6th, 7th, and 8th of this month, and I'm seeing locations as far away as Sherman Oaks, Monterey Park, at least these are closer, Claremont, but then we go to Santa Ana, Lansing, Michigan, San Francisco, Santa Monica, Westminster, Tallahassee, Florida, Riverside. Definitely not our local residents, and those are the ones that were arrested right here on the street in front of the station when we declared unlawful assemblies and they started throwing objects, dangerous things at our deputies. And we want to definitely honor the First Amendment rights of all who come to seek to address government. And obviously we're the most visible form of local government. So we encourage people to exercise their First Amendment rights, but do so in a peaceful manner that respects the local community and respects the right that we still have a job to do. In fact, on one of the nights alone of this very disruptive events here that took place, we had a homicide here. We had multiple shootings where there were gunshot victims that while they had to attend to this protest that was going on in front of the station, they still had a job to do, which is taking care of the community and keeping them safe. That job does not stop because someone wants to protest in a very violent manner. And I'm here to say that, again, we're going to encourage the First Amendment right, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom to redress or address government by all means, but it has to be in a manner that does not disrupt local law enforcement, does not disrupt our local community, because they have a right to exercise their movement freely without the hassle that this whole events have been represent to them and has taken place over the last few days. And first I'll go back and now we'll I think Joe Collins is our first. Richard Gomez. Okay, let's start with Richard Gomez.
Hello, my name is Richard Gomez. I want to start by thanking Joe Collins and Bob Foster for being involved in this process. I own a business in this district, and I'm okay with peaceful protests. If you're wrong, yes, it's peaceful. But I'm not okay with outsiders coming to our community and creating chaos. I'm not okay with them looting and burning our businesses. I employ 100 people from this community, and they need a job, and we need to keep them employed. So we have enough going on with the pandemic. We have enough going on with these fires and all these things are going on in Southern California. And but I'm not okay with the disruption and chaos that these outsiders are creating to our community. Thank you. I'm sorry? I'm not going to disclose that. Thank you. It's in Torrance.
the end. Thank you.
We're just trying to get clarity.
Thank you. We'll do questions at the end. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Sean Sanford, and I would like to thank Joe Collins on behalf of being here today. I've been a member of this community for the last 15 years, and we're all here to accept peaceful protest, but we would like to keep it peaceful. And the things that's been going on the last few days, it's kind of kept everybody in danger and put people in even more danger. And we don't think that's okay. We have our way of dealing with things over here. Us with the police are trying, and we wanted to thank everybody for their concern, but we got it over here. We have a voice, and we want to be heard. Thank you.
Good morning. I appreciate you all coming out, and we appreciate the Sheriff's Department for allowing this opportunity for the community to have their voice heard. My name is Joe Collins, and among other things, I am a community leader here in the South Central area. I was born here. I was raised here. We understand that we have no perfect organizations. We understand that Black Lives Matter just as much as everyone else's lives matter. But we're not going to destroy our community to prove that. And we will not allow anyone else to come into our communities and destroy it to prove that. We will not allow our sheriff station and our law enforcement stations throughout the 43rd District to be dismantled, to be destroyed by any outside influences and even inside influences. South LA is not going to be anybody's practice dummy. We will not be Portland, Oregon. We will not be Washington State. We will not be Chicago, and we will not be New York. The community has let their voice be heard on numerous occasions. Now it's time to allow the outside agitators to hear our voice loud and clear. We do not want you in our communities violently protesting. You protest peacefully. You go home. We have our issues here in South LA, but it's gonna take internal diplomacy in order to find resolve and resolution for the issues that we have here in our communities. We don't need agitators to help us. We did not ask you to come here. If you want to help and be a voice for our communities, the money that you use, that you raise to exploit Black families, Latino families in our community when they are victims of violence or brutality in your own sense, use that money to help the families pay for the funerals. Use that money to help the families obtain legal counsel to handle the issues in a manner that's going to be beneficial for everyone, including our Sheriff's Department. The community will continue to let our voice be heard. We stand with our Sheriff's Department, and we stand with the use of tactical force to remove any outside influencers who want to disrupt our community, who want to destroy our Sheriff's Department. You are not welcome here for anything outside of peaceful protest. And if you are coming from any state, if you are coming from cities outside of the community that you are from, do not bring your violence here. If you want to exercise your right to destroy things, destroy your house, destroy your mother's house, destroy your grandmother's house, destroy your own property, but do not come to our communities and destroy our communities thinking that you are doing something for us and the residents that live here. What if your grandmother lived across the street? What if your grandmother needed your help? What if it was your grandmother whose child was just lost and someone came to your neighborhood, burned down your house, burned down your small businesses, night after night, 12, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning? What if you were that person who had to go to work the next day, already struggling from a low-paying job, trying to make your ends meet, but had to deal with outside influences coming to your community, causing trouble? We stand with our law enforcement. We stand with change. We stand with working with our local officials to affect change in our community positively. We will not, and we will never support outside influencers coming into our cities, taking over, destroying our things, that we've worked hard to get. These are not your streets. These are the streets of the people who live in this community. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Elsa Aldiger. I'm a community leader, and I'm a single parent of a Black kid. I was invited today to speak about BLM. I usually have gatherings in Tujunga, which I had to stop them. I had an event called Open the Churches Rally. BLM came, broke my cross, broke Jesus Christ, and said we were not welcome. So these people are not allowing us, the people that live here, to exercise our First Amendment. I had to cancel my my rallies in Tujunga because people were getting hurt, because officers were getting hurt. My people from the church, I'm speaking as a church member, we support law and order. We support the police. And I'm here to support our police department, not to defund them, but to fund them completely, and to help and to assist them in every possible way. And I think that Georgia has done the right thing, which is they have passed a law that protect any police officer or any person coming to anyone's help, and I think it's wonderful. We have to stand for law and order. We have to stand for the police, and we have to tell these people that are coming to our neighborhoods that they're not welcome. Thank you so very much. Aldeguer.
You can tell I'm a little bit taller, so I have to move the microphone. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Robert Foster. You need me to speak a little bit louder? Oh, okay, I got you. You can hear me clear? All right. How's everybody doing this morning? Everyone's okay? All right. I can't see your smiles. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Robert Foster. I won't call myself a community leader. I'll call myself a community servant. We have a lot of things that are going on in the city of Los Angeles at this time, and we have an understanding right now that there is sympathy, empathy, and foolishness. Of course, we have sympathy for the individuals who are affected by the violence that's going on in our city. We have empathy for those who are involved that are families, like the Fletcher family, who I'm personally a friend of and family member, that we are very close to each other to call each other family at this time. But then there's foolishness. I've seen this city, growing up in the city of Los Angeles, born and raised in the city of Los Angeles, where we've had an opportunity to be able to know that there are people who are bringing other ideals into our city. Most of these people who are sitting inside of the stadium and inside of this area, you're in a position right now as a person to know that our city is a beautiful place. A lot of us are smiling. We're people that when we see each other, we say hello and good morning. But now at this time, we have people who are coming out at nighttime and they're agitating a situation that they're using the blood of an individual for their own political gain. If we have a group like Revolutionary Communists of LA, the group that we did dismantle and tell them that they had to go home at 4 o'clock, if we have a group coming out using their own thought process, and the gentleman turned to me and I asked specifically one question. I said, "Sir, where are you from?" He said, "I'm from the Bronx." I said, "Do you live here?" His partner and colleague nudged him and said, "You don't have to answer that." Well, if you don't have to answer that, sir or ma'am, I will tell you this much. I'm going to answer it for you. In Los Angeles, California, we've grown as a city. We've grown as a place as the second biggest city in the United States of America. We have a beautiful understanding with our hearts here in this place to know that we have white, black, Latino, and or other, that we can all love each other. So this morning, I want to make a statement to everyone who's listening, whether it's by radio or by television. Please, if you're coming to the city of Los Angeles to start to burn down a precinct, first, we don't call our police stations precincts in Los Angeles, California. We call them also friends. We call them also family. So if you're coming in to agitate, burn, or cause foolishness, we're gonna make sure that the community stands up and we will address you first. The police will not have to address you. The people in the community will address you and let you know very happily that you are not welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a great day and enjoy sunny Los Angeles today. God bless you. I'm born and raised in Los Angeles, California, sir. I went to Fairfax High School. I'm a graduate of the class of 1993. I was also an All-American in basketball. And if you need to know anything about me, I will happily answer any questions you have. Well, I was a point guard. God bless you. Oh, he didn't want to play me one-on-one, did he? Have a great day. God bless you all.
I'd like to introduce now Mr. Kevin Orange.
Good morning, everyone. I would say it was good to see you, but it's like, here we go again. But I'm here. Yes. Okay. All right. My name is Kevin Orange, and I've been a community member for the last 56 years, South LA and Westmont. KEVINORANGE, and I'm an advocate for the victims that's been senselessly murdered around here, and that's who I speak for. We find ourselves here again at the tragic death of Dejan after months of other senseless homicides that occurred in Westmont, and that's what I come here to speak for. Before this protesters began, it was homicides that are occurring in Westmont community that had our concern. And so I want to come here and be a voice. Now, if you want to come to Westmont and protest about the violence that's been plaguing our community for the last 40, 50 years, we have community organizations that's around here that you can get involved with. So when you come in here, and like in a disrespectful way, and like all the work we done put in here for the families that done lost people senselessly, it seemed like our work is undone. It's like our value and what we trying to do for this community is not warranted no more. So I come here to tell you, like, we have some good, strong people in Westmont. Everybody in Westmont is not bad, so we don't look for nobody to harm us, law enforcement, nor community members. We want to live. Our people want to live in Westmont. Until we give Westmont a voice and put us on the spotlight, not only for doing bad things happen to us, it's a lot of good things that happen in Westmont. I've been around here my whole life. I deal with the mothers, I deal with the brothers, I deal with the sisters, aunties, and uncles that done lost loved ones. So we just can't forget about the people that made Westmont what it is. So if you're not coming here to give us some kind of structure to get behind us, on the side of us, you're not doing us no good. Because we don't want this to keep us against them. It's Westmont people coming together, standing up and seeing what we want for Westmont. Because Westmont, we gotta fix this, because we gotta live over here after everything is gone. After everybody that came over here and disrupted everything, we still have to live here. Our children have to still go to school around here. So Westmont, come on, man, let's stand up and let's own it. You know, we gotta own it. So we got great ideas, but I think when you start putting communities together, preparing them, and how the interaction gonna be with law enforcement, it has to be community driven. And it got to be community driven from the people that live here, that done seen it, lived it, and breathed it. Because, you know, I deal with family members that lost a loved one, and they don't know what to do. They traumatized. You know, so what are you going to come do? What opportunities are you going to bring that going to help these youth and these families to deal with the trauma they've been suffering? You know, I can say that because I'm one of them myself. I'm losing my brother in Westmont. Lost my brother, my twin brother, and my cousin at a candlelight vigil. So these are things we done got in place to where we're trying to make it a better quality of life for everyone around here. Because with us fighting against each other, we're not gonna get nowhere. So like I said, if you coming to Westmont for support, you kind of late. Because this fight we've been fighting been like 40 or 50 years. But we are making progress. Even though we have incidents that might happen, that tragedy like this, but we got to get past this stuff and come together and work together. So if you're here for Westmont, you need to check in. You need to check into the community members that's here, that's trying to do some good so that we can avoid families from losing their loved ones when they walk in the streets. So thank you for letting me share this morning. So I'm Westmont Strong. That's what I stand for. Thank you.
I'd like to know if anybody has any questions for Sheriff Villanueva or any of the community members at this time.
I'm an attorney with the National Lawyers Guild, and we filed a class action against the Sheriff's Department for excessive force on protesters. I'm here to see someone who's inside right now who was picked up by the sheriff while he was transporting two arrestees home. And they arrested him for picking up kind of debris here on the street. I think you need to understand that these protests are about the killing of innocent civilians by the sheriff's department. I have a recent case where a mentally ill man was shot, was tased 7 times in his home. So there's a reason for the protest, and I understand the community's concerns, and I'm hearing it. But the sheriff has to stop using rubber bullets unlawfully on protesters, shooting them.
Okay, I don't hear a question in that, but I will tell you that everybody is welcome to exercise their First Amendment right. When they become assaultive on deputies and start throwing rocks, glass bottles, pipes, mortars, then it becomes a riot. It becomes an assault on the deputies, and they will have to take appropriate action to make sure they protect themselves, and if they're breaking the law, they will be arrested. Thank you.
Sir, 1 second, please. Ma'am, ma'am, 1 second, please. Where are you from, ma'am?
I'm from Los Angeles, the National Lawyers Guild.
You're born
Yeah,
in
I'm
Okay, so we're
born
from the
in
same
LA.
place. I'm going to share something with you that happened last night.
Okay.
I happened to come out last night. Sorry. Joe, you want to come up also? Ma'am, last night we were outside. We were here when the violence started. And it was a very funny story. One of the gentlemen who was actually bringing water to support the people who were protesting, his car was parked here, close to the windows. And I saw a community person who's upset because he was helping the people. The gentleman came over and he flattened his tires. Do you know what happened next, ma'am? He came back to that automobile, saw that his car was flat. Do you know who he called? The sheriff department. The sheriffs responded within 2 minutes. I don't know what he did or what he said, but they responded within 2 minutes to assist this gentleman. Ma'am, as you stand at this time, I appreciate that you are involved in the law enforcement of our rights on the Constitution. But I would ask and oblige, if you're not out here protesting, as these individuals were, ma'am, there have been people from Tallahassee, Florida have been arrested. There are people from Denver. There are people from other areas. Individual cases, as other people have said that have been prior presidents. He stated something very clearly. He said, don't group the people. They're individual cases. So would you agree with that, ma'am?
Well, of course I agree, but there's no reason to shoot people in the face with rubber bullets.
Okay.
Act lawfully.
You have to speak to the sheriff about that. Thank you.
Thank you.
To reiterate the point, the people who have been here, and I would encourage you to come out at nighttime and see what type of protest that they're doing. They're shooting fireworks, they're throwing rocks, they have bottles and they're throwing fire. Those are the people that you guys are protecting right now. And regardless if you like it or not, we have videos, you can look on everybody's social media, it's all over the place. Do not come from out of town into our town causing ruckus, causing violence. The community will push back, and we're going to support the sheriff in their use of force to remove these people from our cities because they are a danger. If they shoot a rocket, they miss the cop and go into this apartment building right here where they have children, guess what? The children are affected. If they shoot a rocket or they throw a bottle, it hit a car, and the car has a family. When a grandmother's trying to move them from the area that the people you're supporting is causing violence, guess what? That family is affected. I support the law enforcement. We support the law enforcement. And how we say in our streets, that's what they get.
Sir.
Yes.
This is a small, it's a caption of some of the items that have been recovered from the individuals arrested. As you can see, they came, they almost look like football players with helmets, goggles, heat-resistant gloves, shields, and then different objects to throw, obviously. Mortar rounds, fireworks, glass bottles, water bottles that are frozen solid, and chunks of concrete. You can see a variety of all the different things. And these people, all of these things were seized right here in front of the station. From the corner there, Normandy, to Vermont, within this chunk in front of the station, everything you see here was seized.
And the arrests that you were talking about earlier, are anyone arrested connected to any of this?
Every single one that was arrested had this type of thing. And these are all of these things are seized from the people who were arrested. This is from this is the last few nights. Yes.
What's the total number of arrests?
Frank, I haven't seen you in a while. How you doing?
Good. How have you been?
All right.
Good. You're still sheriff?
Still.
Okay. How many arrests since the Dijon prison shooting? What's the cost estimate of the damage that's been done, that's been described here? In other words, building damage, cost to vehicles. Has there been any amount assigned?
Well, there have been 37 people arrested since over the course of the last, I want to say 4 days. 4 days, 37 arrests. And because of the efforts of the South LA station, of our mobile field force and the response team, you can see the yellow barriers, everything. They've damaged the sign there that's now covered up. That took some serious vandalism. And I don't know what the dollar figure is at, but it's probably going to be a couple of grand probably to fix it up. And but that is the only thing that was damaged because we limited everything away from the station. Had we not done this, the damage would have been to the building itself. And so a preventative measure that worked very well. Yes, ma'am. Very, very good question. First off, we're right in the middle of, we have one interview left to do of one of the involved deputies. And once we have that interview in our possession, we're going to be able to hold a press conference and we're going to release all the information we have up to that point, which is substantial. But it is a very key interview that we have to do first before we can release all the information, because to release it before we interview would compromise the integrity of that interview. And we do not want to do that. And that is our goal. Just like in the case with Mr. Guardado in Compton, when the coroner released a report prematurely, that had the potential of jeopardizing the interview that had not happened yet. And that is a very important thing, and we're going to push back hard against anybody who wants to release this prematurely. The integrity of the investigation is paramount. After that, and we secure that, then we can be very transparent and we can release all the information, because it's not going to come at the expense of finding the truth.
Why is it taking so long to interview together?
Well, actually, if you compare this one to the Guardado case, everything is happening a lot faster. We're in the span of a week and a half versus the other one took almost 3 weeks before we did the interviews. And a lot of it has to do is if we force the deputies to be interviewed, it becomes a compelled statement, and then we cannot use a compelled statement if it arises to a level of a criminal conduct. So we have to be very careful in how we approach it, and we're kind of at the mercy of them being interviewed without a compelled statement with their attorney, and that is typically what the holdup is.
So the deputy so far has refused.
I wouldn't call it refuse. They need to have their attorney present, just like if any other suspect or a suspect in a criminal homicide, we're not going to interview them without their attorney present if they request an attorney. We have to honor the very same principle. Yes, ma'am. Well, there's only 2 involved. Yes.
Can you say whether it was the training officer or the trainee that left in the interview?
The training officer.
And then you said there was going to be a lot of information you were going to release.
Yes.
Is this going to be in the form of your statements, video, written documents,
We're going to have video. We're going to have some statements. We're going to have exhibits of some of the evidence recovered. We'll have a lot of information that will give you the entire context of what happened, and it will answer all of the questions that you may have. All right? Well, we're waiting for this one more interview, and then we'll, as soon as we get that done, everything else is already ready to roll, and then we'll be able to do it. I'm hoping today, tomorrow, at the worst, at the beginning of next week. Yes.
Two more questions, please. Two more questions.
The Inspector General was involved from the very onset. He responded to the scene of the shooting. He participated with the homicide investigators in what they call the walkthrough of the investigation, so they had the chance to see everything up front. He chose not to participate for whatever reason in the autopsy. That was also available to him, and we provide a regular update on it. However, we do have concerns about releasing information prematurely, since he was the one responsible for pressuring the coroner to release the Guardado case. So we're not going to provide him information that's going to jeopardize the integrity of the case until the time that we have secured all the interviews. Then we're not concerned. And that is we're not withholding information. He's been able to participate just like in every deputy involved shooting. He has. The only thing that's been different is that he chose not to show up for the autopsy for whatever reason. Everything else is going the same as usual. Yes. Wait, I didn't understand the beginning.
The LASD has statistically been involved in more deputy involved shootings in a lot of sheriff's departments across the country. I understand that you're the largest. Are you doing anything to address that more?
Statistically, we're no different than last year or the year before. There's an average year to year. There's a standard deviation, and the variability from year to year is not statistically significant. We're pretty much in the same time frame, and really everything is contingent on what happens with the people that deputies attempt to either detain or arrest, and that we have no control over.
One more question. In the back. Go ahead, sir.
Well, actually, it's because all the different vests and things that are put on, that obviously obscures our typically nameplate like you see here. We also have the added concern that now some of the disruptive groups are trying to dox the deputies themselves and release their information publicly. So that creates an additional hazard. And they're actually assailing the deputies verbally, accosting them, saying, hey, what's your name, and so forth, because they're trying to dox them. These people are very social media savvy, and that's what they do. So they're gonna, like my name, my address has been doxed. They put wanted posters with my name, address, even a photo, an aerial shot of my house on wanted posters in the Compton Station area. So that's just adds to the threat level. So no, because we know who they are. That's not a concern to us. Every single arrest, we know who the deputy arrested them. If there's a use of force, they report to the supervisor. We know who was involved. We're also videotaping it ourselves, so we know who they are. Okay. Okay. How's that?
Go to Spanish really quick.
Yeah. Para los que están mirando en español, aquí tenemos evidencia que fue recogido de los que fueron arrestados en los últimos 4 o 5 días. Y como pueden ver, esto no son cosas normales para las personas que están protestando de una forma civil, honrando la primera enmienda de la Constitución. Eso todos son ofensivos diseñados para proteger a las personas del gas lacrimógeno, de todas las armas que son menos que mortales o mortíferas. Y como pueden aquí son cascos duros. Estos son como los soldados de las épocas romanas. Todas esas cosas, todas cosas que fueron lanzados son piedras, botellas, botellas de agua congeladas de plástico que se convierte en algo peligroso, extremadamente peligroso, y guantes, todo eso es para tirar el gas lacrimógeno otra vez a los oficiales. Los recogen del suelo ya quemándose. Y eso es lo que están mirando detrás de mí. What is, yes. Yes, I can give you a really quick. It was a deputy-involved shooting in the 500 block of South Bradfield Avenue, Compton, right around 6 in the morning. We had our Operation Safe Street detectives were serving a search warrant, and it was a weapons violation. And when they attempted to serve the search warrant, they came under fire immediately from the suspect who was the subject of the search warrant. And there was exchange of gunfire. Actually, there was multiple exchanges of gunfire. The suspect attempted to set fire to the garage and get rid of the evidence, and that's what happened. Yes, the suspect was pronounced deceased at the location. Deputies, fortunately, were not hit. All right, thank you all.
I want to thank you for coming. This concludes our press conference.